Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. My name is Fernando Herrera, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I used to hire my outside salespeople back when I was managing my wholesale warehouse in Las Vegas. Now, by the end of this video, you should know what an outside salesperson means, what inside sales means, whether you should be paying someone base salary or commission, what a commission might look like. And again, I do want to be upfront and transparent. Everything I'm about to share here with you is what I used to do. Doesn't mean it will work for you, doesn't mean it's correct. Again, I might have something wrong here, so just take it with a pinch of salt. Now, before we continue, did you know that the majority of you guys watching right now are not subscribed? It's amazing how many people reach out, comment, like, and share these videos, but you guys are still not subscribing. So it would really help me a lot if you could subscribe. If you have a friend who owns a shop or a tire wholesale business or is wanting to get into the tire industry, please share this video with them. I hope again that this could be helpful to someone or useful to someone. So I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for subscribing. Also, big shout out to TireBase, the sponsor of this video. TireBase honestly is hands down the best software out there for tire wholesalers. So if you're looking for a B2B website or a shop, like a POS system for your wholesale business to keep track of the commissions for your salespeople. I mean, again, TireBase was designed and engineered from the bottom up to meet the needs of tire businesses. So again, if you're interested in checking them out, I believe there's some promotions you could take advantage of. Again, there's going to be a link at the bottom that says tirebase.com or tirebase.io/YouTube deal. But again, the description will be at the bottom. Thank you so much, TireBase, for sponsoring this video. And let's continue. Now, before I continue, I will be sharing my screen here shortly, but before I do that, I want to explain just the difference between inside and outside sales. Now, outside sales is primarily what we're going to be focusing in this video. Outside sales are people who are going outside, visiting companies on your behalf, on behalf of the corporation or of the company. So in my case, again, I pretty much, we have a family warehouse in Vegas called North Tires Enterprises, and we pretty much would hire a person to go out and get business for us, right? So that's outside salesperson. It could be called field sales rep. It could be called sales, there's a whole bunch of different titles, but at the end of the day, it's really a person that's going out there visiting in the field, right? Someone who's really out there. Again, going out, just simply knocking on doors, saying, hey, did you know that North Tires existed? Can we sell you some tires? Would you be interested in other options? But that's what an outside salesperson is. An inside salesperson is someone who is inside the office, right? So you need both of them. At the end, sometimes the outside salesperson could maybe play both roles, but I think you still need the inside salesperson. The inside salesperson is the one that's going to be answering the phone calls, going to be answering emails, maybe not text, because maybe they will still reach out to the outside salesperson. But again, whenever an account is ready to fulfill an order, that inside salesperson still needs to print the invoice, needs to make sure everything's good, needs to call them. So again, that's the difference between those two roles. Now, I will be explaining this and I will be sharing a file. If you actually want this template I'm about to share with you guys, feel free to email me at fernandoh@tirebase.io, or better yet, actually contact me via either LinkedIn or Instagram asking me for this template, and I'll share with you the file, just the straight out file that we used to use, and you can use it, just change the logo and the address. And again, just keep in mind, I'm not an attorney. We built this from scratch, so just double check it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to the computer, and I'll share the document as to how and what these outside salespeople used to do, how much we used to pay them, or how's pretty much the compensation structure. All right, guys. So I have pretty much right here the file. I have this folder where I used to have all the job descriptions, the specific drivers or people I used to hire, and of course templates, right? And so the one that we're trying to look for, we had here regional margin manager, GM, a whole bunch of roles. But the one that we want to talk about is the field sales rep. And this one, again, I just took a look at it today, And it was so interesting. It was so nostalgic in a way, because it's been a while since I've updated these files, and so it's nice to actually get to see them. But it's pretty much a 7-page document. As you guys can see, it's since 2017, and I would just pretty much here change the name. I would change the date. Again, the way we used to call them would be field sales representative, because they're out in the field. And then we would just put right here starting wage of X amount of dollars. To be honest, at that time, I would always give them a pretty low base salary. So somewhere around maybe 35 to 40,000 annually, plus an incentive. So the main, again, this is really what the employee would the person we're about to give the offer, this is what we would do, right? We would give them this offer, and they would read it, right? So the main purpose of the field sales rep is to spread the word of the mission and the vision of No Tires, blah, 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 all this stuff, right? Main function really is responsible for marketing. Again, now that I'm a little bit wiser, I don't think marketing is the right term. Here would be responsible for sales, promotions perhaps, and selling products. Marketing is something completely different. Marketing is what I'm doing right now for TireBase technically, right? It's more brand awareness and all that, but sales is really what we want this person to be focused on. So just learn from that. Duties and responsibilities, right? Make personal sales calls to customers, seek out perspectives, establish and maintains customer relationships. Again, if this person should be the one that should be getting like a list, like, hey, we have 100 clients, these are your clients, make sure they're happy, and we're going to be evaluating them every month. This is a tricky situation to be in, because oftentimes I would have this dilemma, right? I have, let's say, a portfolio of 50 clients, a total of $1 million worth of sales every month, and I'm going to try to make it simple. Let's pretend that I have tire shop number 1 who buys $50,000 every month from me, from my warehouse. Well, if I give this account to this new salesperson, am I going to be paying commission of that $50,000 that I already had before this guy came in? Again, there's no right or wrong answer. I've seen some companies where they just give you the account and you're responsible for the overall sales, saying, hey, here's a portfolio of 50 accounts. We have $1 million historically. We want to get to 1.5 million. Make it happen. Whether sell more through these accounts, find new accounts, but we need you to hit 1.5 million. That's one approach. The other approach could be getting a little more in terms of growth. But again, I think that's honestly going to be the best solution, what I just mentioned previously, because everything else, and I fell victim to that before, I would say, hey, well, yeah, look, this account's like 50,000, so anything on top of 50,000 will pay. But it's so much headache having to deal and do calculations and reporting. So it's a lot easier to say, where do we need to be, really? And that's the number one question you should be asking yourself if you're hiring an outside salesperson is, where do you need to be in terms of sales? So this person should be coming on board to help you get there. If we're bringing someone in sales, it's because I'm not happy with the amount of sales we're making, and we need this person to help us. So if you just need someone who can maintain the account, then maybe you don't need a field sales rep. Maybe you just need a CSR, customer service rep, right? But in my case, I think it just works well when you bring an outside salesperson, you hand over these accounts that are already good, and you tell them, hey, I want to grow these accounts, or I want to grow our sales by 10%, 15%, and then just let them impress you with whatever they can do. So the next thing that we would recommend is stay current on existing and emerging products and technologies. Of course, we wanted them to understand and know the product. Introduce and the reason I would put that one is because we would have a lot of people who don't want to train, and again, this is bad hires, but you learn, right? The people who should be joining your team should be more than happy to train, to understand and learn new products, new things. So keep that in mind. Introduces and demonstrate new products to assigned accounts, follow up on generated quotations, generate profitable sales orders. I mean, one thing is sales, the other thing is profit, right? So you want to make sure you're definitely making profit there. And these duties and responsibilities, the way I was explained by my mentor before, is the more things we put here, not the more, but we need to make sure that we put all the things we really expect, because we don't want any misunderstandings, right? And if you, for whatever reason, have to let someone go, it's very easy to let them go with costs, right? So if we have to let someone go due to performance, we could immediately outline and say, hey, you know what, you were doing sales, but you weren't doing profitable sales. That's part of the requirements and the duty responsibilities that we gave you, and unfortunately you didn't do it. Personally speaking, don't hire to fire. Hire to keep, hire to train, hire to maintain. But again, obviously there's still going to be some bad hires, and once you identify a bad hire, you want to get rid of them ASAP. So reports competitive conditions, feedback, maintains ethical, blah, 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 all these things. You guys can pause the video and read it. The main purpose of this video really is how much should I be paying my salesperson? Obviously we did add some physical ability requirements, other miscellaneous activities. You know, we obviously don't want a person who's just going to be from 8 to 5 saying I only do sales. We want them to answer phone calls and pick up tires from vendors when needed. At least that's what we needed at that time. The pay agreement, like I mentioned before, we normally had a fixed salary of anywhere between $35,000 to $45,000, and it did say deductions on salary will be talked about on a later document. Really, it's if we give any equipment, computers, cell phones, all that, you know, and if they leave, uniforms would be a big one. And then we have the right to just dock that if they leave or whatever. But this section will be more focused on the incentive-based program. Now, incentive programs available vary quarter to quarter. So we used to pay incentives every quarter. It was just a lot easier for me to do that every quarter rather than every month. And there were several types of programs. So as a salesperson, you can make incentives in multiple ways. One was direct new tire container purchase program. So and we still do. So we used to offer our clients factory direct container. So if you want to buy a full container of new tires, we'll drop ship pretty much the container to your warehouse. And since we're buying volume, sometimes the discount that we give to our clients is still greater than them going directly to factory because we're buying a larger amount of containers. And so to be defined, so this would be something like this, right? So the silver price level, depending on who we're selling the container to, obviously we would have 3 types of pricing levels. We would see here how much markup we are making, and obviously, you know, platinum, we're marking up 6% on the cost of the container. We can afford to pay a higher incentive. And so right there we can see, again, for you don't have to do so complicated things with different price levels. You could just have a factory direct price level. Thinking back, you know, again, I don't know why we have 3 pricing levels and 3 commissions. It should just really be 1 level, 1 markup, 1 commission, and that's it. Now there is also another incentive for regular new tire sales accounts. So it would be, again, a $500, and I haven't read this document in a while, so let's see, $500 divided by 7.85. This must be the markup that we had. So again, if we're making $500, so in order for us to make $500 in profit, we need to sell $6,000, and then every week that would be around $27,000 of sales. So this was a sales floor. So this is what we wanted at least as a minimum. And so what this means, the sales floor is a minimum amount of sales expected from a sales rep to in order to cover for variable expenses and salary. So we're paying a base salary. We want to make sure that at least these people or the salesperson is paying for themselves. Again, different culture. I don't know if I would agree with this at this point. I feel this just adds a little bit of micromanagement vibes. I rather just focus on the overall objective of, again, we're at 1 million, we need to be at 1.5. If you don't get us there, if we're not trending to go there within 2-3 months, you're gone. But again, at that time, this is how I was doing it. Then there's no sales ceiling, of course, right? So sales amount above sales floor will be eligible for incentive. So pretty much what it said, hey, you have to sell at least 27,000 each month. On top of whatever you sell above the 27,000, that's what's eligible for a commission. So in other words, you're getting base pay. We expect at least $27,000 in sales. And then on top of whatever you sell, on top of the 27,000, we're going to pay an incentive amount. Now again, this does depend on the type of business or account you're selling to. So if you're selling to a tire shop or a bronze or a dealership, which the profits vary, as you can see, tire shops would be 12%, dealerships could be up to 20%, because dealerships are more profitable, they have a lot more money, but they demand faster service, better quality of service, etc. But they could get a higher commission. So again, if a salesperson sold 120,000 at an average GP of 13%, then that would be 120,000 minus the 27,000 equals 92 of eligible sales, or I guess sales eligible for commission, and then that times the commission, that would be 927. Then there would be other fleet accounts directly by wholesale, wheels and wheel supplies programs, used tires, commercial tires, and then average sales on GP. So we at this time we're trying to get a 12%, which is quite low. I personally feel we should, if you're a wholesaler, you should be aiming somewhere between a 15 to 25%. If you're really low, again, based on experience, very risky, because if you're playing to be the cheapest one out there, someone else could be the cheapest one tomorrow, and then you lose half of your business immediately, and you have to be very quick to adapt in terms of the cost. So would not recommend it. I would definitely recommend more going on towards the premium, higher cost, and just giving better service or creating that really good relationship with your clients. Chain of command, disciplinary, pay adjustments, as you can see, will not deduct pay until having signed notice from the employee. Vacation, I mean, all these things are pretty standard. You give 1 week, a year, paid employee health concerns, creation of accounts. So we did have a mileage reimbursement rate. This is actually quite popular. Some field sales reps obviously are driving out there, and they want either a company car, but we couldn't afford that, obviously, so we would hire people with a car, and then we would just reimburse them for each mile they pretty much drove. Now you could say, well, why not just pay for their fuel? That could be reasonable, but again, some outside sales reps might say, well, I'm using my car, and my car is going to take tires, depreciation, wear and tear, or blah blah blah, whatever, right? So the IRS typically has a standard mileage, cents per mile, and this could help you kind of have an idea of how much you should be paying for each mile, considering all the wear and tear, depreciation, gas, and all that stuff. I do think this is kind of like a good approach if you're just starting. Later, when you're bigger and if you can afford to have a company car, I think it's just easier, because it's just, you're always going to have the risk with this one of having extra miles. Your outside salesperson says, hey, I actually did 200 miles, when in reality they did 100, 150. So, I just feel having a company car, it's just a lot more convenient, but you don't have to push yourself. This is actually nice when you're just starting out, especially because you don't have to worry about insurance. You don't have to worry about the risks involved if they get, God forbid, they get in a car accident. You don't have to deal with any of that. It's the employee who takes care of that, which in this case, it could be more of a contractor, to be honest. But we did use this program called Toucan or Badger for setting routes, making sure that they were registering visits and all that stuff. Confidentiality and privacy of clients. Obviously, if you're going to be sending an offer, you want to make sure you have all that in place. If they leave, I believe there's some changes going on now where you won't be able to have non-compete clauses in agreements, but you still want to have yourself protected, where they won't just go out there and take all your clients or steal them or steal your employees or whatever. Email use policy, we would always let them know that we could see everything they're sending via email, so emails are not private. Non-work activities, we had a lot of people who would love to smoke, would love to just eat and not be productive at work. Again, for field sales reps, I don't know, really, that would be more jumping into micromanagement mode. I really would rather focus on the overall outcome, right? If he wants to smoke all day long, but he's pulling through his numbers, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what he was here for. Someone like a driver, I could see this being an impact, right? Maybe stopping too frequently at 7-Elevens, causing our clients' tires to be delayed, something like that. Quality of work, it would always add something like, quality of work, the quality of customers on route, pre-entry. So the workflow we had before was the outside salesperson would have the customer list in our system. He would say, I'm going to visit all these guys in this map or in this side of town. We would have it, separated by, northeast, southwest, whatever. And then he would then use MapQuest or Badger mapping to optimize the route and, actually have an order. You don't want to go here and then there and then there and then there. You want to make sure you're stopping everything efficient. Every time he stops, he needed to do a pre-entry. And what that means is just read some notes. Like, I'm visiting Hertz right now. I want to see what happened last time we were at Hertz. Oh, well, last time we know that they started buying. They had these questions. They had these problems. The person I talked to is John. Okay, perfect. Now I can go in, hey, John, how are you? Let me tell you, I followed up with this and that, and boom, 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 boom. Just makes the experience a lot better, especially with new accounts. At least I remember with Avis, the rental car company, there was this old guy who he told me his granddaughter liked to bowl or skate or something like that. And 3 months later, because sometimes you just don't have the time to visit them again, I went and visited him and I was like, hey man, how's your granddaughter? Is she still skating? And all that. And again, that's all thanks because I read the pre-entry notes and I remembered the names, everything. It's like you're awesome, just for remember those little details. Those little details go very far when you're creating that relationship with your clients. And then entry, introduction, visual objectives, follow-up request, that's for close. I don't even know what this all means, but honestly, I would say after you talk with them, you obviously always want to have notes. So we would have a system like Badger. They would check in. Any customer they're visiting, we would get a report at the end of the day with who he visited and what happened in that visit. And then it was very easy for me to say, okay, he visited 12 accounts, and I could see the details of the notes of this account said that they're buying from ATD, they're not going to buy from us. This account said that last time they called, our pricing was too high. Again, just nice to have all that info. And that's it. That's really it. I really hope you guys find value in this. Again, if you're interested in getting this file, let me know. Reach out to me via LinkedIn, Instagram. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe. These videos, again, hopefully can share some wisdom, some advice. I've been there. I've done that. Now I'm focusing more on tire base. I'm building useful software tools for wholesalers, for auto repair shops, mobile tire shops, using this knowledge and understanding I know to hopefully make it easier and just have a better chance for you guys to be more successful. So if you're interested in working with me, if you're interested in this file, feel free to reach out. Again, I really appreciate the time you took of watching this video. Thank you so much. Don't forget to comment, any questions, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.